Hello les légendes, pour ce deuxième hors-série sur l'organisation et la partie business des tournois du circuit, on retrouve le directeur de l'Andalucia Open, Ronnie Leiteb-Mas, un homme qui a vécu tant de choses dans le tennis. D'abord patineur artistique, puis coach d'un ancien numéro 1 mondial, Thomas Muster, avec lequel il a entre autres gagné Roland Garros en 95, puis ensuite capitaine de Coupe Davis pour l'Autriche, ancien président de la Fédé autrichienne, aujourd'hui directeur de 2 tournois en Andalousie, alors qu'il est à la retraite. On a affaire à un giga passionné. Ronnie nous raconte comment il est arrivé en Espagne et la difficulté d'organiser un tournoi dans cette région, à cause du manque de sponsors et donc de ressources financières, alors que son ATP 250 a un budget de 2 millions de dollars. Vous allez donc le voir ou l'entendre. Pour la première année, Marbella organise un ATP 250 la semaine juste après son tournoi Challenger. Ronnie nous explique les enjeux sanitaires, sportifs et financiers pour réussir le pari un peu fou d'honorer la licence d'1 an accordée par l'ATP en situation de Covid. Avec un plateau sportif intéressant sur le papier, puisqu'Andrei Roublev, numéro 8 mondial, Stan Wawrinka et Bautista Agut étaient prévus. Mais finalement, les têtes de série 1 et 2 sont Carreño Busta et Fognini, invités de dernière minute, et qui a au passage pris 2 et 1 contre Mounard. Autre surprise de taille, Björn Borg est prévu pour donner la coupe au vainqueur du 250, et son fils de 17 ans, Léo, 15e mondial junior, mais un peu en difficulté sur le circuit, était lui invité au qualif du Chal et du 250. C'est notre première interview en anglais, sachez qu'elle est en version originale et sous-titrée sur YouTube, n'hésitez pas à nous dire ce que vous en pensez. Un grand merci à Gaëtan pour la traduction et les sous-titres. Place à ce second hors-série sur l'organisation de tournois du circuit. Bonne découverte, bonne écoute et bon visionnage à tous. Ronnie, you are former president of the Austrian Tennis Federation from 2012 until 2015, actual director of both ATP Challenger, Marbella Tennis Open, and for the first time, the Challenger is followed by an ATP 250 from April 4th to 11th. 2 perfect weeks to prepare the clay season, right before Monte Carlo Masters 1000. So could you please tell us more about you, Ronnie, what you've done during your career through tennis and how you ended up in Spain?
Okay, so my career in tennis started basically by incident because I used to study medicine and was always following tennis, which is not my first sport. The sport I was doing actively was figure skating. I was in Olympic figure skater in Austria in 1976.
Yeah.
But I met very young Thomas Muster, and this was because of my relationship with Wojtek Fibak and Ivan Lendl. And in 1984, I was introducing Thomas Muster to Wojtek Fibak to practice with Lendl before his match against Henri Lecomte. So you see, there's always a strong French connection, and you will see more French connection coming. So then I was coaching Thomas basically 16 years with all the ups and downs, the car accident in Miami, winning Roland Garros in 1995, becoming the world #1 player. So we were working together 16 years. At the same time, I started to coach Andrea Gaudenzi, who was the long-term #1 Italian and just became the president of the ATP.
Yep.
And I've been the Davis Cup captain for Austria for many years in the 90s, and the sports director of the Austrian Federation. And then really, I think they wanted to get rid of me. So they made me the president of the federation, which at the end of the day, from all my tennis experience, was the most difficult one, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm more, in my heart, all my life, I've been a coach and on the player's side, and not so much politically. So this is not really a good attitude for being a president. I think as a president, you need to be very politically. And I'm really looking forward to see how my old friend Gilles Moreton is going to do in France now, because he was a player. He was a great tournament director in Lyon.
Yeah.
And now he became president of the French Federation. I think it's fantastic to have somebody like him on the top of the French Federation. But I hope not that he's making the same experience than me. That is probably the most difficult job that you can have with an attitude of a player or coach to do.
Wow.
And I mentioned already Gilles Moriton, Lyon. So my link to France is I'm the owner of the license in Lyon, and I'm working together there with Jean-François Cochol and Joe Tsonga and his team.
Yeah.
And this is a tournament I have founded actually when Thomas was just winning a Roland Garros, and we started it in Austria, and then it went to Nice, and it has ended up now to be in Lyon. And yeah, basically I've been living 26 years in Monaco, and I wanted to retire.
Yeah.
And that's why I came to Marbella, because I'm really crazy about golf.
Okay.
And when, as soon as I landed in Marbella, I met some old friends in the Ponte Romano Hotel involved in tennis, and they asked me if I would help them to make a tournament and why I didn't bring your ATP 250 to Marbella. And I said, this is not so easy, because an ATP 250 is a big operation.
Yeah.
You need a good team, a good backup, and so on and so on. But let's start with an ATP Challenger.
Yeah.
So we started 3 years to have a challenger in a very nice club. The Ponte Romano is a very traditional old club founded by Manolo Santana and Björn Borg in 1984. So we developed the challenge, and then came the opportunity to have an ATP 250. And they said, let's give a chance and let's try it. And we applied for this ATP 250, and we got the 1-year license to have it in Marbella. But at the same time, all my partners and also the ATP asked me not to lose the challenger, because our challenger was recognized as a very high level challenger. So I said, okay, let's do both. And this is a new challenge for me after 35 years in organizing events, Davis Cups. I did in 1990 this huge Davis Cup, Austria against the US in the Vienna National Soccer Stadium. It was a very, very popular Davis Cup tie at that time, because it was 20,000 people outdoor in the soccer stadium with Thomas playing Chang and Agassi, beating both in that tie, which was really great for Thomas in 1990. Then I built a stadium within 3 months when Austria played against Germany in the Davis Cup. And the last fancy thing I did a couple of years ago, maybe you remember, when Austria played against France on the airport in Vienna, in the flight hangar of Niki Lauda. So this. I have a little bit of history of doing crazy things. So to do a challenger and then an ATP 250 sounds quite normal, but I can tell you the challenge these days is with COVID that you have to match 2 bubbles. So we have the challenger players, they are used to a different level of bubble. Yeah. And then we have the ATP bubble, and this is crossing into it.
Wow, we're gonna get to it. You've had 129 lives already, and you shouldn't be bored during your retirement, I guess. Can you just take the micro a bit further, because sometimes there is some just slightly. Yeah, that should be perfect.
Better?
Yeah,
okay.
Better. Thanks. Just before talking about your experience right now with the tournaments, maybe you can tell us what you felt when you won Roland Garros as a coach with Muster. I didn't really get it, how you jumped from your discipline, your sport discipline. I didn't really understand what discipline, by the way, but how you jumped from that discipline.
Figure skating, ice skating.
Okay. Yeah.
Ice skating. Yeah.
And how you jumped from there to tennis, and maybe how you felt winning Roland Garros, which is what a lot of French person will hear that, like the best thing can happen in their lives. You actually did it. You actually experienced it.
Yeah, so two things. How I got into tennis was quite simple. I was in the same national training center school like the tennis player, that mostly the generation before Thomas.
Okay.
And when I saw how hard the training for an ice skater is, because we have to go up early in the morning before we go to school, we have to train and so on. And I saw how easy it is to be a tennis player. One of my first impressions was, if I can transmit to Thomas to work hard as a figure skater and find out about your body, then you already can make a big move. And I remember we were one of the first ones that were traveling with a medical board, for example. Today, everybody does. But I was physical coach, I was mental coach, I was tennis organizer for Thomas, all in one person.
Yeah.
And what I brought into the career of Thomas probably was the discipline that you need to have in ice skating, in two things: discipline in practice, but also discipline about your body. When I show still today is that you have a body control from the from the smallest finger in your hand until the little toe at the leg. And in the 80s, 90s, there was maybe one player who was on that level already, was Ivan Lendl, but it was not into tennis so much. And I think Thomas really picked it up very well. He was super moving on the tennis court. He was a big threat to all the Spanish clay court players at that time. And when we speak about Roland Garros, it was an amazing experience, because Thomas did not lose one clay court match the whole season before Roland Garros. He won Estoril, Barcelona, Monte Carlo, and Rome to get into Roland Garros. And probably at that time, this was long time before Rafa, so nobody could do that. What Thomas did on clay, maybe Villas. And when we came to Roland Garros, it was not winning Roland Garros. I thought that it's just about losing Roland Garros, and because he was so on top.
Much pressure. Yeah.
And and the amazing thing was, the year after, he was on the same run. He again won all the clay court tournaments.
Yeah.
Then to play in Lausanne-Langlaine against Michael Stich. And looking back to this, I can say he really lost it because of change of circumstances. It became very hot. Lausanne-Langlaine became very dry, and all of a sudden, Stich could play like on a fast hard court there.
Yeah.
So this is 1995.
1995. Okay, but you won the year before. That's it. No.
This what the thing was 1996 with Stich, but he won in 1995 Roland Garros. But what I'm saying is that almost the same he could repeat in 1996.
Wow! And just tell us quickly how you felt once he won the match points. Was it such an achievement for you in your career? How did you I don't know, received it?
No, it was fantastic, because the difficult match was not the finals against Michael Chang. The most difficult match in the tournament was a very close 5-set match against Albert Costa. And this was the match to win Roland Garros. And when I look back, I remember one picture very well. You know that Jon Tiriac always has this box in Roland Garros, and we are good friends with Jon since many years, because he was organizing the tournament in Kitzbühel in Austria. And when Thomas won, he jumped up on the barrier, and Tiriac was like, Thomas is coming to him like this. But Thomas was going, no, I'm going for Ronnie, to my coach. So this is this is the picture I still remember after the finals in Roland Garros. It was like a very funny situation.
Did you party like crazy the same night?
No. As you know, in Roland Garros, when you win Roland Garros, you have a lot of things to do after the finals, press conferences, TV interviews, and so on and so on. So it was a very late night, and we took a plane then in the night to go back to Austria. And our family was waiting in my house, and we had a drink, and then we were so exhausted that we were happy to go to sleep.
Oh, wow, unbelievable. Well, we could talk about it for hours. Let's
Oh,
go
yeah.
straight to the tournaments. So, you told us how you became first the president of the director, sorry, of the Challenger. It's been 3 years, right, that you're
Yes.
directing that tournament?
Yeah.
The former first three champions were Travaglia, Andujar, and Pedro Martinez. The He disappeared for 6 years and then got back on track. How did the date went back on the calendar?
The previous one was not organized by me, so I'm organizing this now since 3 years. And
Yeah, yeah,
the best final we had actually was a pity, because it was Andujar against Benoit Paire. It was a
yeah.
fantastic match, and exactly the same match in the Challenger was a week after the finals in Marrakesh on the ATP 250 level. And
Yeah.
this says a lot about the quality of the tournament in Marbella. And when you look this year, the quality of the players playing in the Challenger is already fantastic. But then going into the ATP 250, you see that the players really like to be there. They like the courts. It's on sea level. It's like Monte Carlo. By the way, we are using exactly the same balls like Monte Carlo.
Okay.
So it's a perfect preparation, and we still have one wildcard open for somebody who lives in Marbella. And
Okay.
maybe he gives us the honor to play, but we will see in the next couple of days.
But my question was, why did the tournament disappear for 6 years and then went back on the calendar 3 years ago? Do you know why?
I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but maybe it was a money issue, or there was an issue of the organizers. I can honestly, I can't tell you. But Marbella looks good from outside, but it's a very difficult place to organize a tournament, because you don't have big sponsorships here. The only industry you have in the south of Spain
Yeah.
is hotels,
Yeah.
which is not a great moment for hotels right now,
Right.
and is real estate. But you don't have an interest in industry. And I was very lucky to identify and became friends with a company which is Anytex 365,
Yeah.
which has been founded by a Danish who lives in Marbella and has developed in the last couple of years the fastest growing internet company in Europe.
Yeah.
And he always was suffering that nobody knows that Anytech is a company from Marbella. So for him, the tournament until today is the perfect vehicle to show the world Anytech 365 is a company from Marbella. And in life, sometimes you need a little bit of luck to meet people. They are happy, and then all the other sponsors I could fortunately bring from outside, like Red Bull, which is an Austrian company, and even MásMóvil, which is a Spanish telecommunication company, but the founder is an Austrian. So it's a little bit Austria shifting into Spain.
Nice. Good job. How much money do you need to organize the Challenger? What is the budget, the global budget?
On the level we do it, and you need about 500,000 to 600,000 euros, because we do it on a very high level. The
Yeah.
VIP is like this is the good thing about the exercise, because the VIP we're doing for the challenge, I've been doing for the last years, is going to be on the level for a 250. So it's just 1 week longer,
Yeah.
And before COVID, we had every night we had a concert in all different styles of music. So we had Montserrat Caballé's daughter singing live opera in the stadium. we had Boney M, Gypsy Kings.
Nice.
So Marbella is a place for entertainment at the end of the day, and we need to find a balance in between the sport and the entertainment.
Yeah.
This year, unfortunately, we cannot do it because of the COVID regulations.
Right.
But we are happy because at least we can sell 400 tickets
Per
and
day?
per day. So
Yeah.
400 tickets in a stadium for 2,500, which is the basic size of the stadium, at least gives some atmosphere, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Because we are all suffering. I mean, I was in London at the ATP finals. It's just terrible for the athletes, you know, to play without crowd.
And Jean-François Cojol told us that he had half of his budget from the sponsors this year. Is it the same case for you, or you still have the same amount of last year?
I mean, this is difficult to compare because Jean-François is coming from a 250 that it is reducing. We are coming from a challenger building up to an ATP 250.
Yeah.
So for us, it was more to get a little extra from the sponsors. And we also got the help from the Junta Andalucia, which is the region of Marbella. And by luck, Junta Andalucia is the sports region 2021 of the European Community. So this is how Junta Andalucia will promote to the world that they are the sports region of the European Community this year. The ATP 250 is the most important event in this regard. And as I said, you need to have a little bit luck that elements get together.
Yeah. I've seen there are 6 categories of ATP Challenger tournaments, depending on how many points the winner gets, and the prize money also varies. It goes from 50, then 80, 90, 100, 110, 125. Can you explain us why Marbella Challenger Open is part of the 80 category of challengers?
This is very easy to answer. We were ready to go for a 125 challenger, but then came the opportunity of the ATP 250. And in my discussions with the ATP, I have been asked, would you be ready also to do a challenger, even it's a smaller one, because we are losing jobs for the players. You know, to make an ATP 250 has an upside for the crowd, for me as a promoter, but it has a downside for the players in between 80 and 150 in the ranking, because they are losing a very good challenger.
Yeah.
And so we compromised with the ATP. I said, the maximum I can do is an ATP 80. Let's do that, so we can help having jobs for the players in that ranking. And then on top, we're going to have the ATP 250. So I say it was more a compromise and partnership between us and the ATP to support the players.
All right. What do you like the most in your tournament as a job director? Because we can feel that it's a lot of issues, last minute calls, busy schedule. What is the best part in the end?
For me, I see it as a part of coaching. You know why? Because there's a lot of young players, they don't understand and appreciate how much work it takes for the ATP, for the ITF, for Roland Garros, for me as a promoter, to set up a good event. And I always said, young players need to get educated that this is not self-given, that they can live in this world. So what I'm trying to do is, my approach is always be as helpful as possible to the players, but at the same moment, educate them into this world of tennis.
Okay.
This is a little bit my mission. I see it's not always well understood by young players, but in the long run they will see it. And I think from experienced players, I feel the respect that it's part of my mission to help young players to understand that it's necessary to have a certain behaving. So, for example, in this situation with the COVID, to give an example, we learned from last year that a bubble does not always mean a bubble. In the challengers, it's much more open than in an ATP 250. But I said, with the connection of these two tournaments, we have only one option. It has to be a serious bubble also in the challenger. So to provide this, I understand the problem of challenger players, because challenger players, they have hospitality in a five-star hotel in the Ponte Romano, but they don't have the money to pay the lunch, the dinner on that value. So we are offering the challenger players the full package of breakfast, lunch and dinner also for their coach, which not many times happens in a challenger. But on the other hand, I tell every player, you have to respect the bubble. And if you're not following the rules in the bubble, at the end of the day, it might be a disqualification or taking the credential off. And at the same time, I try to explain them, and also their agents, which is sometimes even more difficult, that this is a working together to keep our sport alive. Yeah. Because you cannot have like this, you cannot have expectations of 100 millions falling from the tree and not being part of the correct behaving. So what I'm saying is that in the challenger, we learned that the players, they go out, they go in different restaurants, they go to cheaper restaurants because they want to save money and so on and so on. And I said, I want to create a world where there's no excuses, but I need to have the respect that they understand what effort it is to put up an event for them. This is a little bit my mission.
How often are they tested?
In the challenger, they have to come with a COVID test, PCR test. Yeah. Then we have built up next to the private reception. There's going to be a private reception for the players. We have to build up a COVID testing station. They have to do the test there. Then self-quarantine in their room, and around 4 or 5 hours later, when they have the negative result of the PCR test, only then they can get the accreditation.
All right. I've read that last year there was some issue with Pedro Martinez, who said that he had to pay for his housing at the hotel and everything. What happened? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, this is part of my mission, as I said, and this was very clear also orchestrated with the ATP. You know that the players have to book the hotel rooms 2 weeks in advance of the tournament. And if you offer the players rooms for free in a 5-star hotel resort like the Ponte Romano, you need them to respect it. And there was 2 players, even the ATP has asked them to make a reservation, who denied it. And one of them was Pedro Martinez. And I really shook him hard. And I said, this is not the way of behaving I expect. And I told him, for you is 2 options. Either you lose first round, nobody is going to be sad, or you better shut up and win the tournament. So I'm happy for him. He got the lesson and he won the tournament. Of course, in his emotions, he needed to react, which I understand, but he knows very well that all the mistake was on his side, because he has been, from various sides, he has been told to follow the rule. And the funny thing is that I know his coach many years, Trevor Jimenez, and I said to him, you know what, talk to him and explain him. And the answer tells a lot about Pedro Martinez. The coach said, no, he's now so nervous in the tournament, I can only explain him after the tournament.
Okay.
I said, good luck, because I could, my coach, as a coach, I always got my players in at that moment what is necessary to say.
But were the players actually paying for their rooms? for the night?
No, at the end of the day, it was covered by the Spanish Federation, and the Spanish Federation deducted this from us, which I think was not a good thing to do by the Spanish Federation, because ATP staff and we said it would be good one time to make that example, to have it better for the future. Huh?
Okay.
But I think he got the message, because otherwise he would not have entered the tournament again. And he entered both the Challenger and the ATP 250. So I think he got the message very well. And with my experience as a coach, I can carry a lot.
Is he coming back this year?
Yes, that's what I said. He's coming in the Challenger and in the ATP 250. So I think he learned the lesson.
Yeah, all good then. And what is the evolution of the prize money for the players this year? How?
In the Challenger or in the ATP 250?
Both. What percentage is it of the normal amount? What do they?
In the Challenger is the normal amount is the 44,000 for the ATP 80, and in the ATP 250 the prize money is 408,000, and I think normally is around 600,000. So it's not too bad. It's quite good, I think, for the
30, 20.
Something like this, yeah, something like this.
Okay.
I don't know by heart.
All right. Okay. Is the tournament still? Is the tournament still making profits or losing money this year?
We are not losing money, because otherwise I wouldn't do it. Yeah. But we are not doing profit because as I said already, we are investing a lot in the quality of the tournament, not only for the players, but also for the spectators. You can imagine, for example, the Ponte Romano Hotel, which is a special challenge, at the weekend from April 2nd to April 4th is the Easter weekend.
Yeah.
So the average room rate at that weekend in the Ponte Romano Hotel is more than 600 euros. Oof. Yeah. So we have to pay, we get a special deal, but still we have to pay more than 300 euros per player for these nights at the weekend to make it possible to keep the bubble together. So this is a lot of effort we are doing. Then, as I said, we are offering free lunch. It sounds nothing, but it's in when you have this amount of players and coaches, we offer free lunch and dinner for players and coaches in both events. So only these two things, which is an extra for the players, is a lot of money.
Yeah. Who are the best players coming to the Challenger?
Is Pablo Andujar is the #1 seeded. If you give me a second, I have a look to the list, because
I can see your tennis, your golf bag behind, by the way.
Oh yeah, exactly.
How much? So, what is your ranking? Golf ranking?
Around 9-10.
Okay.
And they get 9-10. So,
yeah.
So in the Challenger we have players you might know is the new Spanish star Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah.
We have Roberto Caballes Baena, we have Daniel Taro, we have Norbert Gombosch, who has been there, Andrei Kuznetsov, who has been already top 50, yeah. Gianluca Maga, Denis Novak, top 100 player. Yeah. So Pedro Martinez, also top 100 player. So it's a quite good Challenger field, and in the ATP 250, the #1 player is Andrei Rublev.
Yeah, top 10.
Top 10 player. Then where is it? Let me have a look.
Just before the 2050 ATP. What's your pronostic? What's your bet about the winner? Who you think is gonna get it this year? The Challenger.
So first of all, betting is forbidden.
Yeah, right.
For a tournament director, absolutely forbidden. So I'm not betting. Yeah. Secondly, whoever I will call now probably is not going to win, and I look like I have no idea. So this is something I would only give, if I would coach one player, would be easy. I would say he's going to win.
But if your heart would tell, who would he say?
Difficult to say, especially on the level of the challenger. When you look, they are all in between in the ranking, all between 50 and 143.
Yeah.
So this is the area which is the most tightest, most closest level of players. So anything can happen there.
Right.
You know.
Do you have guarantees for the top players in the challenger to
No.
make the income?
No.
No guarantees.
No.
Okay.
No.
I've heard that in Orléans, for example, they had some for the very first players, but okay. And all right, so regarding the 250, the top players coming are Rublev. I saw Bautista Agut, top seed number 2, Carreño Busta, and Stan Wawrinka. Why do you think those players choose your tournament and not another one?
Oh, for example, Wawrinka is easy to say, because Wawrinka always likes to come to Marbella, independently if there's a tournament or not. He knows the hotel and the club very well, so I think he's going to enjoy, and he's coming already a week early. He's going to be already next week there preparing his clay court season. So there's different approaches. I mean, Andrei Rublev, for example, is coached by a Spanish coach.
Yeah.
So probably probably Fernando was telling him, listen, I know this old guy Ronnie because I was playing against Muster, you know, and it's going to be a nice tournament. Plus Marbella is nice. So I think Fernando was probably convincing and pushing Andre. Then the Spanish players, anyhow, they know what it is and so on. And and if you ask me where's my heart, maybe it's one guy is Alex Poprin. Alex Poprin got his first wild card on the ATP tour in the first challenger we did in Marbella, because he used to live and train in Marbella.
Nice.
Before he went to the Australian Federation. The second player that has my heart was Alejandro Davidovich, because he is from Marbella, and he also got, in my first challenger, he got his first wild card. The year after, he went to the semifinals, and now he's a top 50, top 60 player. And this makes me very proud that I can see these guys following up. And then we have something which also might be very interesting. I contacted my old friend Björn Borg, because Björn Borg was 1984 the founder with Manolo Santana of that club. So I spoke to Björn and said, it would be fantastic if you and Manolo Santana would give the trophy in the ATP 250, something that normally only happens in Roland Garros, as we know. And then we started talking about his son, Leo. And I said, yeah, good idea. Why Leo doesn't take a wild card in the Challenger? Okay. Then day after, Björn called me and said, oh, what do you think? Leo could maybe also play the qualis in the ATP 250.
Yeah, his son.
I said, yeah, his son. Yeah. Leo Borg.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, if you tell me he's good enough, I trust you 1000%. Who does not trust Björn Borg in tennis? No. He said, oh, yeah, he will be good. He will be good. Okay. So then we kept talking and talking. So probably Leo is also going to end up to play the doubles there. And I think it's fantastic for our tournament to have Björn Borg in the Challenger, in the ATP 50 as a guest of the tournament for 2 weeks. So nothing better can happen.
Yeah. So lucky. Great about that. You told us the budget of the Challenger. What's the budget of the 250?
It's close to 2 million.
Okay. And how many spectators can attend the? Normally, you said it was 2,000 something per day, right?
2,500. If it would be a normal ATP 250, we always would build some extra stands there so the stadium can have 3,500. In this stadium where we are playing, there was a Davis Cup 2 years ago, Spain against England,
Yeah.
with 8,000 seats. So everything is possible in that stadium.
Yeah.
But now we stay with the original base of the stadium, and we can have 400 spectators. And by now we're already sold out the last 4 days of the tournament. And maybe the Junta Andalucia said after Easter, there is a little bit of a release, and then we could have 600, which would be already very nice.
And is that 100% sure that it's a 1-year contract, that you won't have the 250 next year?
What
Nothing's
is
sure.
what
Nothing's
what is sure
today.
what is sure in life, you know?
Yeah, right.
So number one, it's a 1-year license.
Yeah.
But I think if we, and this is the investment, if we make a great job getting the support from the players and getting the support from the ATP, because they think it's a great place to have a tournament, you never know what's going to happen next year.
Yeah, because normally, what's the tournament the same week?
Houston.
That got cancelled, right?
It got cancelled. Yeah.
And Houston is on gray clean in the US.
Yeah.
Gray clay.
Green clay.
Green clay. Yeah. Sorry. Last question. Maybe. Yeah. Last one. The guarantee for the first 4 seeds. There is 1 top 10, 3 top 20. How much do they take? Is that a big part of the budget? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
To be honest, I think I have to make everybody clear, you will be part of a great tournament, but in times of COVID, we cannot make an extra budget for players. So we can serve the players, but we cannot pay them an extra budget.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, that should be it. Would you like to add something? I had a last question about the sponsor, Anytech 365, but we already talked about it. Would you like to add a final word, maybe, or are we good?
No, I really hope that we are getting pretty soon out of this COVID situation in terms of spectators, because tennis is a sport that lives from enthusiasm, from emotions, from the crowd. You know, one thing I miss the most is the wave in Roland Garros, you know, when the people go, you know. So, and I was in London, and when Nadal was playing, there was like 6 people, and with the camera people, we were less than 40 people in the stadium seeing a match of Dominic Thiem against Rafa Nadal, which crazy. I think is crazy. Yeah. And then Rafa comes with his fist, you know, motivating himself on a big point. And the only one he looks at is me, because nobody else is watching there. So it's tough for both of us that we don't have to laugh, no? So
yeah. Do you know him personally? Is he a friend of yours?
Yeah. I know him, and of course I know him very long time. And I remember that you know that Thomas Muster won 3-time Monte Carlo, and when Rafa won the 4th edition of Monte Carlo, I said to him, Rafa, I take my hat off, because chapeau, I would not have thought in my life that I meet somebody who is going to win Monte Carlo more often than Thomas Muster, you know. Yeah. And then up number 5, number 6, number 7, I always say to Rafa, you know, it's not necessary that they take my head off anymore, no?
Oh man, crazy. Are we gonna talk again next year? Will you still be here, you think? And if so, how many Years.
This, this is not depending from me. This is depending from God.
Yeah,
There's always say, kidding is in my age now. Every day counts. So
yeah, right.
let's go day by day.
Well, I wish you the best for these 2 beautiful weeks coming up. I hope you'll have great surprise. Who knows? And maybe let's talk again next year.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
and all the best. And I hope to see you soon in a tournament.
Yeah, great. Next year for sure.
Next year. Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
merci d'avoir écouté ce second hors-série dédié au tournoi ATP et WTA. Si vous voulez nous encourager à continuer, vous nous filez un vrai coup de main en laissant 5 étoiles et un commentaire sympa sur Apple Podcast et YouTube. Vous pouvez aussi envoyer cet épisode ou votre préféré à 1 ou 2 amis, vous leur ferez passer un bon moment et le bouche à oreille. Et ce qui marche le mieux pour le développement des chaînes de podcast, alors voilà, surtout, ne lésinez pas sur les efforts. S'il y a des joueurs et des joueuses qui écoutent et veulent progresser dans leur jeu, on a mis en place plusieurs bonus gratuits. Un avec Fabrice Barrault, statisticien dédié au tennis, avec lequel on a enregistré 4 clés audio, plus un bonus pour optimiser votre jeu grâce à la stat. C'est 1h14 de contenu gratuit et offert. En lien dans la description, il y a 2 autres bonus dédiés au mental, si vous voulez muscler cette partie de votre jeu et arrêter de jouer petit bras dès qu'il y a un petit peu d'enjeu à la clé. C'est cadeau, ça fait plaisir. On a fait la synthèse de conseils récurrents de préparateurs mentaux passés au micro. C'est en téléchargement libre, juste en dessous. Tous les liens, comme je vous l'ai dit juste avant, sont en description. Voilà, à très vite et prenez soin de vous, les légendes. Ciao.